a little tiny kid, I was like every other little tiny kid. I had like two things I wanted to watch all the time. The first was Jurassic Park because my parents wanted to have me sleep deprived, so, you know, I wasn't as hyperactive. And the other was anything with Sonic the Hedgehog in it. I'd catch the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog on Toon Disney whenever it was on, but I also had a single VHS tape that I wanted to watch all the time. So, scrape your knuckles, catch some tails. No, I didn't spend $530.34 on this DVD. We're talking Sonic the Movie. Sonic the Movie always perplexed me. Even as a kid, I knew it was weird. It featured characters who I'd never seen before, voices that I'd never heard before, and it was just a one-time thing. It wasn't on Toon Disney, it wasn't in any video collections, and aside from when I first found it at Blockbuster, I never saw it again. I still have the same VHS tape. It's at my parents' house. When I found it all these years later, I was just like, cool. Thanks to the internet, my strange curiosity, and a masochistic need to make online videos, I discovered more things about Sonic the Movie. Why? It's not a movie at all. Rather, it's a re-edit of two home video releases from Japan. Sonic the Hedgehog, Welcome to Eggman Land, and Sonic vs. Metal Sonic. The plots are interconnected, so it's not like they're just sloppily stitching some unrelated things together like another anime movie. Although these animations were released in 1996, an American release didn't happen until 1999, 2 days before Sonic Adventure was released on the Dreamcast. And the world was never the same. And by that, I mean the world for a niche subset of a niche fan community. Niche, whatever. The beginning sees Sonic and Tails getting a message from the president, who I assume was in office before this president. I'm not entirely sure. My political knowledge of the Sonic the Hedgehog world is quite limited, so don't quote me on anything. The president, along with his Gaia Online character of a daughter, are being held hostage by Dr. Robotnik. Robotnik wants Sonic and Tails to go to Eggman Land and turn off a generator being used by Metal Robotnik, who's taken over Eggman Land.
Are you alright, Sonic?
I'm fine, just fine.
When talking about this movie, the first thing that many people point out are the voices, and I have to say, they're not entirely horrible.
He wants us to come to the presidential house right away.
Sonic is a little nasally, but when he's not saying some sort of weird line in some unique way, he's doing alright. Tails, played by Lane Frazier, is just obnoxious. Tails has this hyper nasally voice, and he always sounds like he's fighting off a major cold.
Sonic, we've got to do something to help him!
Frazier has done some voices for Wizards 101. I'm mentioning that for a reason. Eggman and President are played by Edwin Neal, who's best known for freaking out my entire film studies class. Sonic the Movie was dubbed by ADV Films, who are best known for handling the dub of Evangelion. ADV shut down in 2008 and had its assets and licenses sold to a ton of different companies. I've been trying to figure out who has the license for the Sonic movie, but there's one problem. Only a very small subset of Sonic fans care about this weird piece of anime trash, and it probably wouldn't even be worth it for the companies who purchased ADV's assets to hit Control F and type in Sonic the Movie, unless you want to coincide a re-release with an upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie starring Handsome Man. Sonic is just as much of a little prick as he's always been, making little quips and obscene gestures while he fights Metal Robotnik. Although Robotnik is the main villain, nobody in the film takes him seriously. There's a moment where Sarah, the president's anime Neko girl daughter, is playing a video game with him. She threatens to stop being his hostage if she doesn't keep playing with her, and he's just like, oh, okay, I'll keep playing, as if her threat actually had some weight to it. Robotnik nearly destroys the planet, and at the end of the movie, everyone's just like, oh, silly you. You almost committed a mass atrocity, but it was just a minor annoyance. Eventually, Sonic and Tails start losing against Metal Robotnik, but Knuckles, complete with Cool Hat, comes to save the day. They head off to turn off the generator, but then the biggest twist in film history happens. Metal Robotnik is just Robotnik. Cool. Robotnik reveals that this was all a trap to get Sonic to face off against his secret weapon, Hyper Metal Sonic. A robot that is just a robot version of Sonic. Sonic gets beat up. There's such a pleasantly anime-esque aesthetic to this movie. The design of the land in the sky and the land of darkness are so aesthetically pleasing. Sonic and Tails live in this weird, grimy, post-apocalyptic kids next door situation. Eggman Land looks like this destroyed, dank, overgrown version of New York City. It's kind of creepy, and when Metal Robotnik appears, you just first hear him, then the silhouette, and then he attacks. And later, it's raining because aesthetic. You hear him stomping forward, and he's only seen when illuminated by lightning. It's pretty damn effective. This whole film is just a visual mood. So Sonic and Metal have their rematch at the North Pole. Sonic and Hyper Metal Sonic are hell-bent on destroying each other. In an act of patriotism, Metal saves the president. And because Sonic loves his country, he tries to save Metal when he falls into a pit of lava. Metal is so moved by Sonic's, I don't know, 6 good games, that he tells him that the franchise can't continue without him. After all,
There is only one Sonic.
Cool. Sonic's all bummed out. This whole dramatic death is just so sudden. The two want to kill each other, and then immediately after, Metal shows a sliver of redeemableness. Sonic's like, I have to save him, and Metal's just like, I have to die. It's just another awkward moment to add to the film. At the end of the day, everyone gets along, even with Eggman, who decides to drive the president and his daughter home. Because at the end of the day, even though Eggman wanted to destroy the world and marry an underage cat girl, he's just a little scamp. Sonic the movie is an awkward, bizarre, fascinating mess. It runs less than an hour, but there are so many weird individual moments I can comment on. Sarah, the president's cat girl daughter, is just odd. She's the president's daughter, but she's this little bratty teenage anime cat girl. And not like a cool generic anime character like Owo-chan, just a lame generic anime character like Owo-chan. There's a scene where Metal is looking up her skirt, so she starts kicking him in the head, and then eventually Tails touches boob. The fact that Robotnik wants to marry Sarah and make little Robotniks would be hilarious if it weren't, you know, super uncomfortable. It's a joke that's piled on top of all the other accidental harassment this character receives. I love this moment. Sonic is talking to Metal, and Metal makes this little beep. And with that little tiny baby beep, Sonic is able to translate this long-winded response.
What? This world isn't big enough for both of us and one of us has to go?
The dub creates plenty of awkward moments just in itself. Sonic's voice actor is so over the top.
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you since I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
There's a scene where the president's spaceship is about to explode and Sonic is just like dramatically trying to get to him to see if he's okay.
Mr. President!
I get it, like voicing anime is difficult because you're trying to give a good performance while matching lip flaps, but like, the whole dub is just strange. But one thing this movie undoubtedly has going for it is the soundtrack. Originally, there was supposed to be a physical release of it, but the film underperformed in Japan, so it never came out. But just listen. The main title, Look-alike, is so good. That's the biggest loss with this never seeing a re-release. I would love to own this soundtrack on vinyl or CD. This just really isn't even a movie. It's just a weird, obscure home video release. With production of a real Sonic the Hedgehog movie ramping up, I'm not expecting anything amazing, or really all that good. But if I wanted them to take one thing away from Sonic the movie, I want there to be a scene where Sonic the Hedgehog just looks at the audience. And in 3D, he reaches his hand out and just flips everyone off. Special thanks to all of my new Patreon sponsors from the month of May, especially those who claimed the shout-out rewards tier. I'd like to give a special thanks to both Chris and Omar Scott, along with all of the continued patrons who continued to pledge. The Patreon exclusive review from the month of May was Digimon Adventure 02, The Revenge of Diaboromon. And this month, I'm going to be talking about the Eddie LeBron Sonic the Hedgehog fan film. which will be posted at the end of June. If this is your first video of mine, please be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, and follow me on social media, especially Instagram and Twitter. YouTube is constantly making it harder for people to see creators' videos, so if you want to make sure you get all of my videos, please be sure to follow me on social media and click that notification button. Other than that, thank you for watching, have a good day, and I'll see you next week.